So I wanted to make this quick video because I had too many thoughts to put in like a response email to you. I think the idea of death should always be funny. That's kind of maybe a weird thing to say because, you know, tragic and whatnot, inevitable, you don't have a choice, stuff like that. But I've found that people who don't, no, this is just the idea, you know, actual death, I hope I'll remember to talk about that after this, but this is the idea of death. And when you do comedy and you talk about death, you know, there's the audience, okay? There's the audience who just fucking gut laugh because death jokes fucking relieve tension, and they're awesome. They're my favorite kind of joke. My favorite jokes, by the way, are death jokes and cat jokes. Any joke about death is going to make me laugh, doesn't matter what. Any joke about cats is going to crack me up, no matter what, no matter how stupid, no matter what. But jokes about dead cats, no matter how funny, never get a laugh from me. But when you tell a death joke, you know, and like, I don't do comedy, but this was in the past. And there were, and you know, and it isn't like just being on stage, it's like talking to people and you make a joke about death. There's certain kinds of people who crack up, you know, and there's always that, when you laugh at death, there's always that weird laugh you get. Like, you don't laugh that way at other jokes. It's sort of like, ha, ha, like it's an inverted cry. It's awesome. And then there's the people who don't laugh at death. And so you say some joke about suicide or death or something like that, and they're like, that's not funny. A friend of mine died that way, or whatever. And it's just like, you're not getting it. You're not getting that the idea of death is funny. And it better be, in my opinion, it better be, because you can't do a fucking thing about it. And if you're upset about not being able to change that, you're not going to be funny, and it's not very smart. It's not very wise. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, well, who the fuck are you? Like you're owed an explanation, or you're owed eternity for some reason. You know, like, what the fuck would you do with it anyway, right? I don't even know how to fucking do it, how to run errands on a day off, how to make use of my time. How the fuck would I spend eternity? It is kind of a raw deal. It is kind of a rip-off. You know, it's like, well, fuck, first of all, I didn't want to be here. You know, I was just kind of shoved in this situation. And I have to die, so why are you complaining about death when you're still pissed off that you weren't even, nobody even asked you if you wanted to be alive? It's all these confusing things. It's sort of like, again, comedy is the way people do improv, you know? I mean, some people are really good with improvisation, you know? And somebody just walks on stage and says, hi, Mom, and you just suddenly your mother, and you have to say hi, you know? And some people resist, and they don't like this scene, and they wish that the character they were with had said something else, or was funnier or more imaginative. And there's all this kicking and screaming and shit, but you're in the scene. You're already here. And I'm a recluse. I mean, I don't leave the apartment unless it's absolutely necessary. So my involvement in life is minimal, and I still can't help, even before YouTube, I still can't deny the fact I have a strong influence of being here. And so, as much as I don't like life, it's sort of like, well, it's the only gig in town. So, the other thing I wanted to say was, the idea of death is funny. Actual death is just a big mystery. And the only thing, that's a design problem, because you can only do it once, and you're the only person who's doing it, so you can't really run a decent experiment on it. I'd keep at it since it's a mystery, and you should just keep checking it out. But be laughing, you know, while you're doing it. To be disappointed about dying is just a freak show. It's just as dangerous as finding some conclusion about what happens to you after you die, and then just trying to convert other people, or, I don't know, it's freaky. People are confused. But laughter helps that, you know. But anyway, so death is the actual mystery. The idea of death better be funny, is funny. You just decide it's funny because you can't do anything about it. The other thing is suicide. A successful suicide is not funny because, for obvious reasons, very messy, people get hurt. But the fundamental, if you ask me, this is just my theory, the reason why a successful suicide isn't funny, like, I will make 1,000 jokes. If you do a suicide video or something like that, I'm going to be right there fucking laughing, right, with you because it didn't work. If it worked, that would be a whole different fucking ballgame. That's not cool, and most importantly, that's not funny. Anyway, the reason a successful suicide isn't funny is because success isn't funny. Like, think of if you've ever met someone successful. I meet very few successful people, but I'm, blessed. But anyway, is that it's not funny. So that's just a fundamental thing. Failure is funny because it's a tragedy. Like somebody who is easily defeated. You're like, oh, why should I even try? I tried once and it didn't work, so I quit. That's not funny. Somebody keeps doing the same fucking thing with no success is funny. And so, because they can't get it, and it's just the struggle. And the reason it's funny is because that's the life part. The conclusion, the success, the actual suicide, all those conclusive endings aren't funny because there's an answer to the question. I'm speaking as somebody who's had and seen in my own life a fuckload of death, a lot, and suicides and murders. And friends and family. And of course, living in the century, it's all over the place. Also, being alive is not that big a deal. I don't know. It really, the way we spend our lives, being alive is not that, it's not that heavy of a thing. I understand that that's hard to get if there's a lot of early trauma and a lot of pain too early, that life will just continue to seem like just totally heavy forever. Heavy and serious, and that's the end of it. It's because there's so much early trauma that's just your fucking vision. And I'm like, well, if you're going to pass your whole life that way, it just strikes me as really quirky to feel that way, to hate, life so much, but then also to be afraid of death, and to I don't know. It's like we're totally confused. That's all I'm going to say, unless I keep talking, but I won't.